Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 151. You brought humans to the nest? Spitfire and Toothless shifted to a hover just before a series of snow-covered sea stacks. The rest of the dragons did so as well. Hiccup saw a green dragon he had never seen before fly off the sea stack. His eyes blinked when an ice terror the colour of sea foam lifted into the air with the unknown dragon. Both came level with Toothless and Spitfire, shifting to a hover. The unknown dragon warbled something in the old tongue. "Greetings, Ice Shooter," Spitfire replied. "You can speak the common tongue. They are able to understand." The unknown dragon glanced at Toothless, then at Moondust, before looking back over the rest of the group. "You brought humans to the nest?" the Ice Shooter asked, its voice female, and looking towards Spitfire. "She does not," Toothless replied. "I do." Hiccup saw both the Ice Shooter and the Ice Terror's eyes widen. Both stared at Toothless as if seeing him for the first time. "The Lost Prince," the Ice Terror whispered, its voice also female. "You have come home." "I have come to visit," Toothless replied. Hiccup saw both dragons stare at Toothless and could read the confusion in their eyes. Spitfire spoke up, diverting their attention. "Might want to go and inform Father." Both dragons jerked before the Ice Shooter shifted its head to look at the Ice Terror. The Ice Terror chirped, furled her wings, and dropped. Hiccup watched her flare her wings several dragon lengths below them, bank around, and head for the silhouette of the island he could see rising out of the sea fog. That the sun was tucking itself away for the night, and they were several wing flaps away, made it difficult to make out much of the island. "May I ask who your travelling companions are, Princess?" the Ice Shooter asked. In answer, Spitfire looked at Toothless and glanced up at Hiccup. Toothless tilted his head so he could look up at Hiccup. Hiccup frowned. "What?" he asked. "Do you wish her to know who you are?" Toothless asked. Hiccup sighed, now understanding why Toothless and Spitfire were acting as they were. The Change-Wing King had explained much of how alphas sometimes interacted with the guards to other nests they visited. It annoyed Hiccup to know that even some dragons acted as if guards were lower than them, and he was glad the king did not. The guards were just as important to a nest as anyone else, and had a right to be treated with courtesy. Hiccup vowed to act like the king did after hearing that. "You know I don't mind," Hiccup said. Toothless chortled before facing the Ice Shooter. "The human upon my back is my alpha. His name is Hiccup. The others with us are part of the nest he has formed. They are his honor guard and inner circle. The female riding the spike thrower is his intended. The 3 younglings currently peeking at you from behind the tall singer are my sons." The Ice Shooter shook her head, but had no time to respond, as a familiar shriek rose from the island. Hiccup blinked as what seemed to be 50 Night Furies, most of them black as Toothless, but some were lighter black, like Moondust, and a few that were white in colour flew from the island. They all shifted to a hover behind and beside the Ice Spitter. Hiccup's jaw dropped at seeing all of them, and he heard Fishlegs give a choked-off squeal. 4 that came to hover right beside the Ice Shooter stared first at Spitfire, then at Toothless, before all 4 eyes looked to Hiccup. Hiccup thought he recognised Toothless's older brother and sister-in-law, but he could not be sure. The 4 looked exactly alike, except that 2 had shorter main sensing lobes like Moondust, and one of the 2 had blue eyes. "I see you have finally found him, my daughter," one of the Night Furies said, its voice deep and male as he looked back at Spitfire. "And managed to do what your older brother could not." "Nice to see you too, Father," Toothless said. The Night Fury turned his gaze to Toothless, and stared in silence for several wing flaps. Hiccup, without thought, rubbed at the side of his brother's neck. The Night Fury's eyes focused upon the movement, then travelled up to stare at Hiccup, before lowering once more to Toothless. "It is good to see you too, son. Come,
Let us get out of this air. I know that it is not good for your companions. We'll talk more in the nest.
With that, the flock of Night Furies began banking around to head back. The one who had spoken to Spitfire and Toothless looked at the ice shooter.
You have done well, Nest Guard. Thank you.
The ice shooter tipped her head. Thank you, my Alpha. I shall return to my post. The Night Fury tipped his head. The ice shooter curled her wings like the Terror did and dropped. Hiccup, by habit he did with all his own dragons back home, watched to make sure she landed upon the sea stack. He saw out of the corner of his eye that Toothless's father was watching him. Hiccup had no chance to ponder as the father and the others right with him banked and began to head towards the island. Toothless and Spitfire shifted out of hovering and followed, causing the others to do so as well. As they neared the island, Hiccup heard Ghidorah and Shadowfire gasp. He shifted in the saddle, fully trusting his brother to fly, but also making corrections with the tail fin as needed without thought. Ghidorah and Shadowfire both looked at the island as if they had seen it before. Hiccup frowned, then his face cleared, that somehow, and for some reason, he and the others would come to this island in the tale she knew. He faced forward as Toothless banked right and rose. They followed 16 of the Night Furies that had come out into an opening up on the side of a mountain in the middle of the snow-blanketed island. The other Night Furies peeled off in various directions, the black ones melting into the night, while the white ones blended in with the snow. The lighter-coloured black ones became one with the barely there shadows cast by the dying sunlight, hitting a rather thick black forest over the snow-covered trees. Hiccup lost sight of what else the island had to offer outside, as Toothless followed the Night Furies as they all dove into a tunnel down that would make Ringfire coo in awe. Toothless banked as the tunnel curved left, and soon Hiccup felt heat slowly seeping into his skin. He frowned until they cleared a long, level, and straight corridor, and ended up in a cavern that immediately Hiccup began to sweat. "Geothermal!" he heard Ghidorah whisper in awe, and glanced over at her as Toothless guided bonded dragons and his sons to a stone ledge set at Meatlug's height from what looked like a deep pool of bubbling water. Ghidorah shook her head, making a hand motion for wait. Hiccup tilted his head, but nodded. He knew she would explain later, when she had the chance. Right now, they needed to be attentive to their host, as the 4 Night Furies, joined by Spitfire, flew to a stone ledge high up on the opposite cavern wall. Hiccup also noted many more Night Furies, ice shooters, ice terrors, dragons that looked similar to Shadowfire, but none the same colour as him, and a couple more species he did not know move out onto ledges all around the cavern walls.
"My friends!"
Toothless's father called out.
"We welcome back one thought lost to us, and welcome for the first time those he has come to call flock."
That got some chitters and warbles from the various dragons. Toothless's father lifted a wing, and silence fell.
"My son will explain,"
he said, curling the wing back to his side.
"Do not worry. For now, do not interrupt him as he gives his tale."
The Night Fury looked down at Toothless.
"Please, my son, let us know all that has happened to you, that you would have come with such a flock."
"The tale is not all mine to give, father," Toothless said,
"nor is it a short tale.
Might my Alpha and the humans with us dismount and stretch our legs first?" Hiccup heard more chitters and warbles at Toothless's words. Toothless's father gave a short warble, and silence fell again.
"I would wish all your companions to be comfortable, my son. Please do as you need."
End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed this one. 50 Night Furies! 50 Night Furies! Oh my god. And Toothless's father, we are finally getting into this. We're finally getting to where his family are. Man alive, I am happy. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.